I'm Megapol from NeocoreGames, and you are watching the first part of a series of tutorial videos for the incredible adventures of Helsing II. I work here as video editor / community manager, and all in all, I spent several hundred hours playing Helsing II. Nevertheless, I have talked through the contents of each episode with the game designers to be sure that I'm not talking nonsense to you guys. Now, let's get down to the actual tutorial. This first episode is dedicated to those who are absolute newcomers to the ARPG genre, so I'll just introduce the game briefly and then move on to explaining how combat and the unique power-up system works in the game. Helsing II is a traditional ARPG in the sense that you go around pointing and clicking, defeating hordes of enemies with one of the 3 character classes, doing various quests, gaining experience and levels in the process so you can specialize your character. However, the game is unique in the sense that it takes place in a steampunk gothic universe, features tower defense missions, boasts tons of cool features, and a great deal of humor and Easter eggs. I'll try to cover all these in the upcoming episodes. The game features 3 classes, the first one being the Hunter, which is probably the most traditional class in ARPG games. You can be a melee fighter using swords, axes and hammers, or you can excel in range combat by using pistols, rifles and crossbows. On top of this, you can always add a few spells to spice up combat a little bit. The second class is the Thaumaturge, a fragile spellcaster with an immense array of elemental spells that allow him to deal tremendous damage to large packs of enemies at once. Finally, you can play as the Arcane Mechanic, a class that uses his gadgets and weird science to cause huge explosions with his grenades or to ignite everything with his discharger. After choosing your class, it is time to learn the basics. I advise to start a fresh character and do the first level of the game, which is a tutorial level. You can move by both mouse and keyboard, and you can rebind the movement buttons as well. The user interface can utilize 8 skills. The smaller buttons are by default bound to the number keys 1 to 6, and the 2 main skills are activated by the left and right mouse buttons. You can swap your skills out by left-clicking on the skill or by dragging and dropping them from the skill tree that can be activated by pressing K. By pressing Tab, you can switch between 2 skill sets, so in total, you can utilize 16 skills in Helsing II. If you're playing as a hunter, you can press R to switch between melee and ranged mode. You can attack by hovering your mouse over your enemies and pressing your attack keys. If you press Shift while attacking, your character will stand ground and will keep attacking from that place. This is very useful when you want to keep some distance from your enemies. If you're low on health or mana, you can always use potions that are by default bound to the buttons Q and W. After you have discovered the secret lair, you can use your town portal by pressing T to teleport back quickly to your hideout. Until this point, it all seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, now is the time to delve a bit deeper into the more unique combat mechanisms of Helsing II. You may notice this yellow bar between your HP and mana pools, and you can see 3 smaller icons above each skill. These are all parts of the power-up system that allows you to boost your skills individually. Power-ups work like this. By killing enemies, you gain rage. You can see the yellow bar in the middle fill up. You can spend your rage on activating power-ups. To learn new power-ups, you need to spend your earned skill points on them in the skill tree. Each skill can have any combinations of its 3 power-ups that can be set up by clicking on the Set Combo button. As you can see, it is up to you if you want to activate one power-up 3 times for a boosted effect, or have each power-up activated once to have a little of everything. The maximum amount of power-ups you can have activated at a time is 3. To activate your power-ups, you can press space, which will spend your rage points and prepare the power-up which will be spent on your next hit. If you are lazy like me or just don't want to bother with activating power-ups manually, you can always enable auto power-ups in the game options menu, so the game will activate them automatically for you. This system will allow you to add more variety to combat and to tailor your spells to your taste. This was the first part of the tutorial series. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time I will talk about your ghostly companion, Lady Katarina, so stay tuned until next episode.